This is the first comprehensive tax bill we've had since 1986. The bill we have today is a foundational change. Businesses, partnerships, corporations, individuals, international, anything that touches a business person or an individual in the U.S., there's foundational change.
I think stimulating business activity in this country, it'll be a very positive thing. Core mining specifically, we have about $320 million of tax net operating losses in the U.S., so we're going to be operating with tax shield in the form of those operating losses for a number of years in anticipation of other operations as we look at mining acquisition opportunities or mine building opportunities in certain parts of the U.S. that have precious metals. Having a lower tax rate sort of removes an impediment to actually moving forward with those potential plans.
And on the corporate tax rate, I think the permanence of the corporate tax rate change is critical. A temporary corporate tax rate would have such a dilutive effect on the incentives to change behavior that it would be much watered down in terms of what's sought.
Making the 20% rate for corporations permanent makes it more certain for corporations and eliminates some of the complexity that have to deal with in determining if the rate was being phased in or phased out.
So for a corporation, tax rate reduction is very important, but it's not just the tax rate reduction, it's the entire tax picture that they really need to be concerned with. Corporate tax rates are one piece of that, but what about their global picture?
The international territorial system is the other thing that we're watching. The bill does create a participation exemption for foreign subsidiary dividends, so they're not taxed. It doesn't go completely territorial, though, because of these base erosion protections.
There are rules about tax credits, there are rules about base erosion, so it is really important for all the multinational corporations to understand provisions, how they impact their business, what's the planning opportunity, in order to make sure that they can best situate themselves, again, not only from a U.S. tax standpoint, from a global tax standpoint as well.
The impact of repatriation, bringing money back, I think a lot of those things are going to be positive for the U.S. dollar on a global basis in all likelihood. And unfortunately, the other side of that trade is often depressed gold prices, and that's kind of what we've seen over the past few years, and that's kind of what's driven that longer term trend. And as we look at growing our business, we're now in Canada as well, and just the ability to repatriate US dollars on a sort of more routine basis and not creating incentives for keeping those monies offshore or outside of the United States.
First, planning. Understanding what tax reform means to them. Two, talking about it. They have to be talking about it from the C-suite all the way through the tax function of the organization, but more importantly, the operations of the organization, the backbone of the organization.
They need to do modeling. Get your arms around what the changes are, how they affect the company, how they affect the industry. Whenever you have a rate reduction, there's a great opportunity now to turn what would otherwise be temporary benefits into permanent benefits. The most important part of this is for international planning. What the planning is for certain things, like repatriation, like tax credits, and understanding how, again, your company would fit in not only in the U.S. tax system, but overall globally.
Don't leave money on the table or thinking on the table in 2017, waiting for 2018. Having a great business conversation, education on what it means to me. What does tax reform mean to my organization? Grant Thornton can really help you not just talk about it, but strategize for it and map it out in dollars and cents.